Good evening, everyone. Welcome. So I said I'd begin each session with a quote from Samuel Johnson. So here's one. Any man that goes to bed before 12 is a scoundrel. Well, there you go. I think I'm going to tuck in before 12 tonight, so I guess I'm a scoundrel. And then a quick poem to kick us off, and then we'll begin. This is a poem by W.B. Yeats. And it's about it's called An Irish Airman Foresees His Death. And it's about so you know the Battle of Britain, with courageous fighter pilots from Britain fighting their German counterparts. And, they're always portrayed in sort of patriotic, heroic, in a sort of patriotic, heroic manner. But this poem takes the perspective of a fighter pilot who is somewhat nonchalant about the whole affair of war, and anyway, I'll just give it to you, and you can make of it what you will. So it's an interesting take on war, nonplussed. So an Irish airman foresees his death. I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. Those that I guard I do not hate. Those that I fight I do not hate. Those that I guard I do not love. My country is Kiltartan's cross, my countrymen Kiltartan's poor. No likely end could bring them loss, nor leave them happier than before. Nor law, nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight led to this tumult in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years ahead seemed waste of breath, or waste of breath the years behind, in balance with this life, this death. So yeah, basically saying that war is the excitement of war, the tumult in the clouds is far more exciting and gives his life far more meaning than the years ahead and behind, which seem waste of breath. So there you go. Yeah. So Tim's podcast, episode 5. I'm very tired, so forgive me if I'm not really on form, or this is particularly coherent or lucid. But yeah. So I wasn't really going to mention it because I didn't want to be sort of ostentatious or sort of showing off. Because there are enough people on the internet showing off their accomplishments or achievements, and not that this is particularly one of those, but I didn't think it particularly relevant. But anyway, so I've taken on this role of directing Romeo and Juliet for here in Bristol University. And the reason I choose to bring it up now is because I'm just struggling with it a little bit. So I thought I'd let you all know. I'm as vulnerable as the next man. You can be sure of that. I'm as vulnerable as the next man. Perhaps even more so. So, yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. So the thing that I'm learning is that it's not just the creative side, the directing, taking on this responsibility it's just a bit of a headache sometimes. It's a lot to manage, and I've got newfound respect for people who do it. So like, everything was new for me. And so I decided to do it independently of the existing drama societies here at Bristol, which are Spotlight for student writing and Dramsoc, just for plays in general. I did that because basically they have a certain number of slots that they can allocate plays to each year, and I just didn't think I'd get picked. And also, anyway, I just sort of wanted to do my own thing. And so I haven't got the sort of support structure that one would have going through those normal channels. So I'm basically having to figure out everything on my own. And it's quite an undertaking. It is quite an undertaking. Anyway, so what I was saying about the sort of headache is like, I'd never run auditions before. So that was a whole new thing. And I've managed to, I think, successfully run some auditions. Did that last week. And we've got enough people to show up so that we've got a good cast of good actors. And then writing the sort of acceptance emails, the sort of congratulatory you're in emails, they were easy. Embarrassingly, I still haven't got back to the people who haven't been cast, because I don't quite know how to put it, because I want some of them to be involved, but I don't know how to put it to them. So that's that. And then so here I am, I've got my cast, and I brought them together for a read-through last Friday. So it's Monday now, so a couple days ago. And I didn't want to bore them. So reading through, it turns out I really need to start making some cuts to the play. I had thought, because obviously if you put on the entire Romeo and Juliet, it's going to be like 5 hours. So I knew we were going to have to cut at some point, but I didn't think... I knew we were going to have to cut at some point, but I was hoping to do that as a sort of collaborative endeavour. But we've got sort of 2 weeks until the end of term, in which to rehearse as much as possible. And so I really need to make cuts beforehand. Anyway, so that's one thing. And then I had a bit of a terrible weekend. It was I went to visit my family. I went to visit my grandma's, as it happened. My sort of extended family all came. My grandma is moving house. She sort of, after 50 years of living in Pound Cottage in Pembury, she is moving to live with my one of my aunties and uncles. Her husband, so my grandpa, died 2 years ago. Anyway, long spiel. There we go. That's why I was visiting them. But I had a bit of a low. I had a bit of a sort of depressed weekend. So that's part of my just sort of secular cycle of mental health, which I'll touch on more fully in another episode. Sort of broach the topic in episode 4. But my life is a series of ups and downs, and it's quite annoying, and it's quite I often feel quite powerless in the downs, and it's really annoying. And then it's a matter of controlling the highs. So anyways, I had a down over the weekend, and so I had sort of like 2 weeks of productivity in which did all these auditions, cast everything, and then I don't know what it was. I just I drank too much on Friday night and then struggled to get out of bed on Saturday, and then just didn't really get back up to speed. And then when I came home on Sunday, you guys aren't, maybe you're just completely disinterested by this, but if anyone's listening, this is what happened. Came back on Sunday and yeah, was planning to go for a run, kick myself into action, didn't do it. Just stayed in bed, didn't get rid of my phone like I should do. And so kept my phone, and then Monday morning, this morning, I let down my Romeo and my Juliet. I was going to meet them this morning, but then I just, yeah, I told them I wasn't feeling well enough to do it, so we'll do it another day. So that was a bit annoying. And then I finally got out of bed to go to labs, and then went for a run this evening, which was good. So there we have it. I'm going to keep this brief because I need to go and speak to my sort of producer. Anyway, so all of this, so like the problem with putting on a play is suddenly I've got 10 actors, I've got 2 weeks, and I've got 10 different people, and they've got 10 different lives, and I don't know, maybe I'm too nice, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I certainly don't know what I'm doing, but how do I schedule rehearsals? It's hard to book rooms. I don't really have, hopefully there's a place in Orchard Heights that's what I'm going to find out this evening. It's just a matter of getting rooms and coordinating people's schedules. So I'm going to do it via this thing called Doodle. But it's not really one of my strengths, all these kind of admin-y kind of things. I don't know. So, yes, admin. So, yeah, I'm as vulnerable as the next man. So let's see if we can pull this thing off. Hey, that's the challenge. And the other image that I had was kind of like, I like to live my life as an adventure. Do you know what I mean? As an adventure. So I haven't really been doing so much work this term. I've rather been kind of like, there's so much going on in university life. There's so many societies and stuff and everything. So I've just been exploring absolutely everything, and just exploring, sort of being led by my nose, without necessarily, without necessarily doing the things that I dislike, which, and everyone has to do the things that they dislike. But I've just been following my interest and exploring and anyway, but suddenly I'm confronted with this task, this challenge, which is quite something. And so I have to sort of put the adventure to one side and tackle this beast. And in an adventure, you'll come across monsters, beasts, dragons, and the archetype of the hero, yada yada yada, slays the dragon, but he doesn't necessarily need to do it alone. So I'm going to try and get my friend to help me slay this dragon. But yeah, running off on a separate adventure is just running away. So we need to stop everything else I'm doing temporarily, and prioritize the slaying of this. Basically, yeah, we need to prioritize tackling this thing. So that hasn't been particularly interesting to watch, this little podcast. But there we have it. Short and sweet. I think this is episode 5. But yeah, vulnerability. Yeah, struggle. Struggle as much as the next man. And I won't pour it on the podcast. I'll finish it now, but I'm just about to have a decaf espresso. If you made it this far, thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Bye.